The challenge for me with Leicester, you can, if you want, call Brendan Rodgers a nearly man because they nearly won the Premier League when he was at Liverpool. You can't really, because ultimately he's a very capable football manager working within the framework of what he has, which is Leicester City. And Leicester City's challenges with the other sides amongst them. Now, if Leicester were going to disrupt the top four, this was the season to do it, because you have to look at it and say, look at the clubs that have been off the mark. Liverpool been off the mark and still managed to finish third. When you look at what Liverpool's last 10 games have done, but look at that middle section of about 10 or 15 games where they were shocking. Look at the decline in Tottenham and Arsenal, and you have to believe that there's going to be an arrested process of reconfiguring in those two clubs. If you look at Manchester City, Man United, Liverpool and Chelsea, and say at times Chelsea weren't at it the first half of the season, albeit that Frank did some very interesting things and got them to top of the league in November. There was a period of time that they declined. Liverpool were in dreadful decline. Man United are whatever they are. Man City are the elite. So Leicester's time to have disrupted the top four was probably this season. And they haven't managed to achieve it.
And the moment's gone.
And I think there's going to be a challenge for them, because these other clubs like Tottenham and Arsenal are going to have to go again. You have to believe that they're not going to accept 7th and 8th, and they're going to push on. Everton are somehow going to get their act together.
Yeah.
Because you can't keep on finishing where they finish every season and keep on bringing in people like Ancelotti. Mashiri keeps on shipping in a shed load of money, and they don't seem to get any further forward. So whilst I think it's absolutely outstanding, they've won a cup, their performances on the pitch and off the pitch, and as a football club per se, are exceptional. But to suggest that there's going to be an opportunity for them to disrupt the top four next year, I think is a stretch.
I understand the sentiment around that, but I think the same conversation you could argue we could have had the end of last season when they dropped out on the last day. Very hard to predict what's going to happen each season.
But not with a league. I mean, look at this league. Tottenham and Arsenal have stunk the place out.
They're going to have to go some to overtake Leicester.
Accepted, but you'd accept them to bridge the gap. Then you look at the fact that Chelsea were weak at the beginning or the middle part of the season. Now Tuchel, you would think, would get it together, despite the narrative, if he doesn't win the Champions League, he's going to get the sack.
Exactly.
Man United, you would expect progress to continue because he's going to continue to be backed. City, are they going to get worse? Are Liverpool going to get better? Right, so there's 4 teams that we would expect to be there. So how do Leicester break that?
How do they get back in? I think you're right, Simon. Are we about to see, Danny, another box off top 4 with City, United, Chelsea and Liverpool? We might. It's hard now for Leicester to knock on that door and stay there. Stay there in there.
100%. But I suppose we've talked about it many times, but it's about progression as a football club, I suppose.
Yeah.
Can Leicester possibly do well in the Europa League and win it? Yes. Would they win the Champions League? No. Are those young players going to gain experience by playing in Europa League again? Yeah, of course they are. And are they gaining experience from what's happened this season? Can they improve the squad so when they get injuries they don't have a bad spell? Maybe. I don't know how much funding he's going to get or what backing he's going to get. But ultimately, they can only do so much.
But that's the question, isn't it? Because we know that these guys, the Chelseas, the Liverpools, the Man Cities and the Man United, are going to be given money. And they're going to be given proper money, most likely, to go again. You might believe that Arsenal and Tottenham might be given some money because they've got to arrest this slump. And they're going to bring in a new manager at Tottenham. Somewhere along the line, he's going to have to be given some more money, whether that's released up by Kane being sold to be given them 150 million quid or whatever they get out of this. But the challenge for me in all of this is that Leicester, as a football club, if you start to, you've got some declining forces in there. Vardy can't go on forever.
No.
Right? So then you've got to replace Vardy, and then you've got to replace other people that potentially might see their opportunities somewhere else. Because Leicester seem to be consistently, irrespective of where they finish, losing their players. They won the Premier League, and within a short period of time, Drinkwater, N'Golo Kante, and Mahrez are out the door.
Yeah, and then Chilwell and Maguire go because they're the next best.
So
maybe they've reached their ceiling. Maybe they've.
I hope they haven't.
I hope they haven't. Maybe they've reached their ceiling.
They hope they haven't. But
maybe when the big boys do come, you can't. If someone like Ndidi is got, is ambitious.
Tielemans,
Tielemans plays out. We'll have to wait and see.